Liverpool have signed Dominic Szoboszlai. What's next? Who is going to be signed by Liverpool following the signing of Dominic Szoboszlai? I'll tell you everything you need to know of all the transfer rumors in the market for today, July 4th, 2023. Happy July 4th to any Americans watching, and let's get right into the video. Right at the top, Khephren Thuram, someone who I have said on this channel, I have very strong conviction and belief that he will join Liverpool this summer and be a player for the upcoming season. No one expected Dominic Szoboszlai to sign. Apparently, Khephren Thuram is now emerging as what was the alternative to Dominic Szoboszlai, meaning that interest in Khephren Thuram is reaching an abrupt halt at Liverpool Football Club. What do I think of this? Honestly, Szoboszlai seems like a player who can provide a lot of goals, assists, goal contributions in general to Liverpool. I've seen a lot of people online refer to Khephren Thuram as a 6 or a defensive mid, or play him in the double pivot with Trent, and ultimately he's not a defensive mid player who needs to come in and be backup DM. Obviously Fabinho and Bajcetic are there, but this means that Romeo Lavia has emerged as a top target for Liverpool. Fabrizio Romano, as well as many other journalists who are in the know for Liverpool news and report on Liverpool news, are now reporting that interest has turned to Romeo Lavia. Lavia is a player who I saw play a couple times last season. He seemed impressive, but nothing crazy until I found out he's like literally just 18 and was at the Man City Academy, and City has a buyback clause on him. So that's something to factor into this. If we don't get Lavia this summer, if no one gets Lavia this summer or in January, City has the option to buy him back. And I mean, based on his performances with Southampton last season, the fact that Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, all these major top 6 clubs are after Lavia basically shows to me that there is a player in there that is worth a good fee. He's going to be worth a lot of money, and Man City has the edge where they could wait a whole year, and if he's still great and he's still on good form, they'd probably be silly not to buy him back. So that starts next summer. So buying Lavia this summer would be a move that many clubs would try to seek. From Liverpool's perspective, it helps us with the homegrown quota. Lavia is a player who doesn't need to be registered for the Premier League competition immediately, being that he's 18. He's a player that by the time he does turn 21 will be homegrown and will count as homegrown despite being from Belgium. And ultimately, he's a player who provides us another layer of versatility. This deal could get done based on all the reports, but there is a key difference to this deal. The whole kind of complexion of Liverpool's transfer market has now shifted as of last night because of 2 major things. One, the report that came out that basically stated that Liverpool, to bring in Romeo Lavia, are gonna more than likely need to sell some players to fund this deal to go through. There are links and rumors that I'm going to get into very shortly, but what do I think of that as a whole? 70 mil on Szoboszlai, 35 mil on McAllister, 105 mil right there, and then some people have been counting Cody Gakpo as a summer signing, even though he was signed in January. But if you're factoring that into the transfer budget, let's say, that's probably like somewhere around 150 mil. So getting Lavia, who's priced at around 50 mil, would put us right around 200 mil. I would estimate that Liverpool's total transfer budget is just over 200 mil for this transfer window. I could be entirely wrong. Obviously, we've seen the reports on, there being financial constraints at the club and the fact that the club is working under some very specific measures this summer. But regardless, there are some players who I think could get sold. And one reason I think that Saudi Arabia might be after a few of these players and some Saudi clubs might put in bids is because that's exactly what just happened. Apparently an unnamed Saudi club put in a bid for Thiago Alcantara, and Thiago rejected the proposal. Now, does that mean that Thiago will reject any Saudi bid that comes in, or was it just that specific bid? That remains to be seen, but there is a lot of interest in Thiago. And while reports are saying that Liverpool is preparing for next season with Thiago in the squad, that they are very well aware that if a bid were to come in and it would meet a suitable degree for the valuation of Thiago, that they would let Thiago go and walk if he so chooses. The clubs interested in Thiago are Fenerbahce and some Saudi clubs. I don't know the name of the Saudi clubs. It's just been referred to as an unnamed or just non-specific Saudi club putting in a bid for Thiago. I have a feeling that club is more than likely Al Ettifaq, who, if you didn't see, Steven Gerrard is now manager of. I previously stated that he was going to become manager, and then I said, oh no, deal's off, and now he's the manager. So that's a whole other issue for a whole other video. But with Stevie there, he wants Henderson. So that is a bombshell in and of itself. Henderson is being pursued by Al Ettifaq with Stevie at the wheel as manager. I don't think it should be done. I've personally watched games and had many gripes with Jordan Henderson over the last couple of seasons. Henderson's body and his general fitness are reaching a point that most players experience. If you play for long enough from a young age and you are in your mid-30s and you're aging, you're gonna get more, reoccurring injuries. You're gonna get more moments where you're not at your best. But losing Henderson and Milner from a leadership perspective, I don't think Liverpool should do that. I think that is a bad move. But Henderson is the biggest of leaders, and Milner was the model professional. So losing both your biggest leader and the model professional in the same summer, that I don't know. But if the money was crazy, you accept that bid. But either way, I don't think Klopp is going to allow that to happen. I don't think Klopp wants that to happen. I'd prefer if Stevie wasn't managing in Saudi Arabia, because his managerial reputation is effectively in the gutter. And with Henderson going there, it would do the same to his playing career. Thiago going there, less so, because he's got like a storied history with several clubs. But for Liverpool, that would just spell disaster, I think. You're in a position where you're losing your two biggest captains, and ultimately I think losing Milner and Henderson in the same summer would be just a grave error. Joel Matip is a player who LFC and FSG and apparently the backroom staff all think deserves an extension. And I've seen people be rather divisive of this, oh, he's injured too much. Oh, he makes mistakes when he plays. Joel Matip, I don't know if I want him to extend another year. He's 32. To get him to play as a backup for Konate and Van Dijk and whoever else Liverpool decide to bring in, then you have Gomez at right center back, and you also have Gomez providing some additional cover at right back alongside Connor Bradley. I think it'd be wise to extend Matip, honestly, if he's aware it's going to be a slightly lesser role and he's officially behind Konate in the pecking order. Why wouldn't we extend Joel Matip? When Joel Matip is fit, he is on. And if we could get another center back to put into the squad, I think we go for it. I think it just makes too much sense to extend Matip, because if you're swapping out Matip for somebody else, it's just a like-for-like replacement. And with Nat Phillips also potentially being on his way to Feyenoord for around 10 mil, I think we'd be stupid not to extend Matip. So I am ultimately happy by this news. Center back's another position in the squad that severely lacks depth. If one of our starters goes down, we don't have somebody with a ton of experience or a ton of potential and physical attributes to be able to compensate for that injury. But in the situation of keeping Matip, bringing in a younger center back who's got a high ceiling, and having Konate and Verge as your starting center backs, even if you sell Nat Phillips, that effectively pushes everyone down in the pecking order one, and you'd have effectively a very young center back who could play alongside Matip or Joe Gomez or Konate, and is going to be effectively a long-term backup and hopefully replacement for Virgil van Dijk. So a lot of radio silence on that. Not a ton of news as to who is going to get signed at center back. There's some random people getting linked all the time. Obviously, the likes of Levi Colwill, Gonçalo Inácio. Haven't seen a lot of links to Mickey van de Ven as of late. I would assume that deal is probably going to dissipate as a result of Tottenham entering the race for him. So comment below, would you sell the players that I listed in this video? Thiago, Henderson, Nat Phillips, and would you extend Joel Matip? Also, finally, comment below, would you prefer to have Khephren Thuram or Romeo Lavia going into next season if you can only sign one? Also, subscribe if you're liking the content. I provide lots of Liverpool transfer news and lots of general transfer news as much as possible on this channel, and there will only be more content coming shortly. So thank you so much for watching. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more football news and content. I'm Sideline Sedo. Thanks again for watching. Peace.